Hello, welcome back to How to Read a Poem. Now I'm going to do another request as put forth by somebody who's watched my video on modern love. So this is a comparison with modern love. It's called The Knife by Michael Laskey. So think about it, the knife, something that represents domesticity. Of course, we use the knife to do a lot of things in the kitchen. Chop vegetables, prepare food, and so on. But of course, the knife can also turn into a weapon when we misuse it, if you will. So what I'm trying to say is the different significations of this one object could perhaps be one of the things that the poet is concerned with. So the knife, you brought it with you to the marriage, I think. So male speaker thinking about his wife and bringing the knife into the marriage, I think. Already in your kitchen drawer in Savonaki Road, when we first pooled our possessions. Now of course, one aspect of marriage could be this idea of both parties, in a sense, giving up some of their individualities to pool together a life. So that pooling of possessions could stand for that union of two people. But note, the knife is already being brought by the wife into the marriage when we first pooled all our possessions together, when we first took a vow to live together as man and wife. So perhaps the knife could represent the past life of the wife. All those things that people bring into their marriage from their past lives. So think about that dimension. Something that the speaker can't really get a handle on. Something that belongs to the individuality, to the personality, to the past, to the identity of the other party that he or she brings into the marriage. A perfectly ordinary kitchen knife. So nothing extraordinary about it. A perfectly functional domestic equipment. The two rivets to the dark stained wood of the handle still holding the blade firmly after 20 years. So now the poet goes into a description of the knife. So the two rivets through the dark stained wood. Now think about why stain, why dark. It could first of all be a description of the wood, but it could secondly hold emotional metaphorical significance. Why stain? The stain of the past maybe? And maybe that darkness there of the past life, if you will, the uncertainty of the future. The poem remains enigmatic. In your reading, you have to tease out all these little details and how do they contribute to the atmosphere of the poem. So the dark stained wood of the handle still holding the blade firmly after 20 years. So something has survived, something has endured after 20 years. A symbol of their marriage, a symbol of their union, a symbol of the wife's past. We don't know, but the poem then becomes more suggestive in that way. Signs of wear, though, as you expect. So something sharp, something that's perfectly functional to the use of the knife, cutting vegetables, preparing food, and so on. It still has signs of wear. The tip broken off, used as a lever once too often. So the knife, we might say, has been put to uses that aren't natural to it. It could serve that same purpose. A nick in the edge and the brown handle mottled, streaked unevenly where the wood dies bleached. So, although it's still holding its shape, although it's still functioning as a knife, it's being used as a lever once too often. There are signs of wear, there are signs of tear. In other words, the poet might use that physical description as a way to talk about maybe this idea of accommodation. So the things you bring into the marriage, it's not a perfect match. Marriage can never be a perfect match because the poem maybe wants to suggest two people in a marriage still maintain their own individualities, their own personalities, their own quirks, their own flaws before the marriage begins. And now we are pooling the possessions together. So what you bring to the marriage and what the other party has to accommodate. So think about that in respect to modern love. This idea of accommodation, this idea of the mundanity of marriage, but that mundanity suggesting a kind of fitting together of two people who may not be perfect, but who work together to shape the marriage in their own ways. So, use as a lever once too often, but it still works. There's a nick in the latch and the brown handle mottled. So signs of imperfection. A nick, the handle's mottled, the handle's streaked, and it's streaked unevenly where the wood dies leached. So some wear and tear has happened, some imperfection has happened, but it's something that the people in the marriage work together to accommodate, to get past. So now the speaking voice comes in. I like it sharp. Gritting my teeth, I grind it between steel wheels, now and again scare my thumb. So what has the male speaker, what has the husband put the knife to? So I like it sharp. So the knife was blunt, and now the knife gets sharpened. Scare my thumb. Now think about that, right? I talked about the knife at the start, maybe looking at it as a kind of weapon, looking at its more unsavory sides. And here, the poem wants to suggest a certain kind of danger to the use of the knife. So I like it sharp. Again, that uncomfortability of it, whereas in the earlier part of the poem, there's no word that suggests this kind of uncomfortability, this kind of danger there. So gritting my teeth, I grind it between steel wheels now and again, and in that act, the thumb might get injured. So there's a certain element of risk, a certain element of danger there to that use of the knife. Don't forget the more uncomfortable implications of what the knife might represent here. It fits my fist, love stringing beans, slicing onions, tomatoes, courgettes. So the knife is being put to its use, preparing food. Who would have thought it would come to matter so much to me? This small knife, you say now, you're not sure was yours. So the poem ends with this question that resonates, that brings together the poem quite nicely. Who would have thought, who would have expected that this small knife, this mundane object, this very ordinary kitchen appliance could come to matter so much to me? Again, who would have thought that the little things in life, the ordinary surroundings, the markers of our domesticity carry with them emotional weight, carry with them significance. So in those two poems, Modern Love and Knife, we see this almost kind of transfiguration of the ordinary, this transformation of mundane surroundings, mundane objects into things that are bearers of emotional and almost metaphysical significance for the speaker and his wife here. Would have thought it'd come to matter so much to me, this small knife, the smallness of the object in contrast to its great emotional significance. This small knife, note the last line, that interesting last line, you say now you're not sure was yours. So he's not sure what part the wife brings to the marriage, what he understands and what he doesn't understand about the wife. So again, what do we carry with us into relationships? What do we expect? And what do we expect the other party to know? So the knife, again, returning to my point at the start, maybe represents the baggages, the individual flaws, our pasts, all the things that we bring into a marriage, all the things that we hope the other party will accommodate to, all the things that shape our marriage, and all the things that we are uncertain with, but we nonetheless have to fashion a life from. The knife, again, that representation of accommodation, that representation of domesticity, but also something that more uncomfortably might suggest danger, threat, separation. So what is the fate of this couple after this moment? Is it good? Is it bad? Is the knife a symbol for something that's about to come? We don't know. But again, that could perhaps be part of the poem's point. These are the things that we need to work with. These are the areas of uncertainty. Things change. Relationships don't stay the same. We don't start from scratch. We don't start on a blank slate. We accommodate each other given our individual pasts, given our individual flaws, given our individual desires, our individual inner lives. And that's what we all must deal with in a real relationship. This is how to read a poem. Thank you.